everybody, I'm Vicki Harris and welcome to Best Friends Kitchen. I have in the kitchen with me today a really good friend. We've known each other, we were talking earlier, for gosh, over 10 years I guess, and if you follow country music, you're going to recognize his name for sure. It's Buddy Jewell. Hey Buddy, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Vicki.
Glad to have you.
Glad to be here.
I wasn't sure what to cook. Didn't know what your family liked, and so I thought, you know, he's a country boy. He's going to like breakfast. Right?
Absolutely.
All right, breakfast, most important meal of the day for us, and now they're saying it's the most important meal of the day for your pets as well.
I didn't know that.
How about that? All right, what we're doing today is we're going to do sausage. Yep, sausage for your dog and pancakes. So we're going to get started. I'm going to give Buddy the messy part of it. And,
of course, that's why I'm here.
That's why you're here, absolutely. First of all, let's talk about the meat in the sausage.
All right.
There's all different ways that you can prepare sausage, as you know. There's pork sausage, there's turkey sausage, blah, blah. But I kind of like to mix them together. And the really cool thing about when you mix them is you get a lower fat ratio.
Okay.
And so that's why I want to use that for the dogs. Also, for the pets, I'm going to show you very little ingredients. If you'll notice right now, mainly what I'm putting in is just the meat. Now there are some ingredients, some spices and everything that your pets can have, but they don't have to have them. So all you need to do, get ready to get dirty, is get your hands down in there and just start mixing that together. While he's mixing, I'm going to tell you a little bit about this. Regular sausage that you buy in the store has 15% fat in a serving. There's only 8% fat in a serving of this because this is straight ground pork. It's not sausage meat that you buy in the store. It's just straight ground pork and ground turkey.
And ground turkey.
Right.
Gotcha.
Absolutely. When you get all that mixed up together, this is what you would take out and use for your pet. This is what you'd say, okay, well, this morning, you know, I'm going to give you 1 patty of sausage, or 2. If you have a big dog, then you could feed them 2. So I'm going to give you 1 or 2 patties. You go ahead and take that out and sit that aside, make them a patty and sit that aside. So if you want to, I'm going to let you just make a patty or 2.
All right.
We spilt a little bit.
That's okay.
Like that. Yeah. Make 2 patties and then just put them back down in there. And while you're doing that, I'm going to grab the ingredients that you'll put in here for the people portion.
Is that about the right size patty, a palm size patty, or is it
just about a palm size patty is a serving. That's probably about 2 ounces. So you can do 2 to 4 ounces for your dog. No problem, especially if it's a medium sized dog. Okay, let me grab the rest of the ingredients.
It's a little bit much there, so.
Okay. Now this is ingredients for everything we're doing today because we're also doing, as you know, we're doing pancakes. There you go.
All right.
Nice healthy portion. Now we get into, if you want to wipe your hand,
I do.
if you a little something that's a little nasty. Now we get into what you're going to fix for yourself. And I think what we'll do first is we're going to try a little bit of nutmeg. Now would you think nutmeg would go in sausage? Not necessarily.
No,
right?
I wouldn't.
But it's in there. I mean, if you look at the list of ingredients on regular sausage, it's there.
Huh.
And it's all for taste too. A lot of this is for you. So let's just say that's what, about a teaspoon?
Oh, you cook like mama.
I do cook like mama. I do, absolutely. And that's the fun of this too. It's all about bringing your family into the kitchen.
Right.
And if you've got for us, grandkids, our kids are grown, but if you've got, you know, grandkids or anything like that wants to get in the kitchen with you, you don't have to measure a lot. You just say, hey, this is to taste, I think I kind of like that. So we've got a little bit of that. Now, sausage isn't sausage without sage.
Of course.
A dog can have nutmeg.
Okay.
Does not hurt them at all. A dog can actually have sage. It does not hurt them. They just don't need it.
Okay.
You know, their taste buds are not refined to say, oh, my sausage didn't have sage in it today. You know, so that's fine. Again, this is more to taste than anything. If you like a really sage sausage, then you're going to want to put more in there.
Right.
And again, I could measure it, but I like to dump it. So I'm just going to keep dumping and dumping until I say, do you like a lot of sage? What do you like?
You know, I honestly
don't know.
How do you
I
like sausage.
Well, do you like dressing?
Yes, I love dressing.
You like it to taste like sage, maybe? So let's say you do.
All right.
You like,
Let's say I do. I do.
you do. He does. That's probably about 2 really full tablespoons of sage.
Okay.
And that's about 2 pounds of meat. So if you're thinking that, you got 2 tablespoons of sage to 2 pounds of meat.
All right.
And then you say, okay, well, I got to have a little salt and pepper. Now, your dogs don't need salt and pepper either, so that's why we're not putting it in there.
Right.
A little bit of it wouldn't hurt them, but just like us, we need to watch our sodium intake, and so do they. So if they're not picky about having it or not having it, let's not put it in there. Again, I'm just sprinkling. I'm just dumping in it. And our last ingredient. Do you like things spicy?
I do.
Okay. This is where you cannot give this to your dog. I mean, it would not kill them, but you would want to kill yourself if you give them red pepper flakes because they're going to get sick probably.
Yeah, it goes a long way too.
Yeah, it does. So if you like spicy, these are whole. This is not like ground red pepper. These are red pepper flakes.
All right.
To 2 pounds of meat. So I'm going to say I'm probably putting about 1.5 tablespoons, maybe a little bit more.
All right.
Maybe that won't be. All right, you ready again?
Ready? Shall we?
Yep. All right, now as he's doing that, this is going to take him a while. I want to make sure it all gets incorporated. We're going to start thinking about pancakes because you got to have something else when you're talking about your sausage. You need something else.
That's true.
Yeah. All right. Talking about the ingredients in a pancake. This is regular flour. We're going to use a cup of regular flour. And in case you don't know, we have dogs in this house. We're cooking in our family kitchen, and we have dogs. And so they say, oh, somebody's outside, I need to greet them. So if you hear a dog barking or a cat or something like that, don't worry about it. That's all part of our house.
That's normal.
That's right. That's the way it is. Okay, we're making a small batch. So that's about a cup of flour.
All right.
Then I like to add oats to it.
What is it? Oats. Okay.
Yeah, just like quick oats, oatmeal. And this is about 1/2 cup. Just gives it a little bit of texture. Then you want to add a little bit of sweet. And that sweet, you can use either regular sugar, the refined white sugar. You can use that turbinado sugar, which is an unrefined sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can use brown sugar, and I'm using brown sugar. And here I go again with my pinch and my, the way Mama does it. I just say, I think I'm going to put about, and all of this is to taste, I'm going to put about 2 teaspoons. So that's about 2 teaspoons, because we're not making a big batch of it. So we've got that in there. Then you always have to have, and again, a lot of people say, oh, well, you know what? You should not give baking soda or baking powder to your pets. Well, you wouldn't want them to eat it just raw, like that, because yes, it could make them sick. But when you're using it as an ingredient in cooking, it doesn't hurt them at all. Okay? So you're looking at a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda and a full one of baking powder. Then come to your wet ingredients. Well, this is, you can use any kind of dairy if you want to, milk, but I chose almond milk. This is something kind of, this is the new thing nowadays that everybody is getting away from dairy and they want to use, nut milk or soy milk or anything like that. There's a big controversy on whether you give your pet soy. Mm-hmm. I'll talk about that maybe on a later thing. I don't have a problem with it, but I just happen to like this. So this is actually a blend. You can buy it in the grocery store. It's unsweetened.
All right.
They have vanilla, they have sweetened, but this is unsweetened, and it's coconut milk and almond milk together. And it's 3/4 a cup. So you put that in there. Now, the last thing that you put in a pancake is oil. You have to have some kind of oil that helps bind it all together. And your eggs. So I kind of mix this around. It's thick. That's what the oats do. So when you're making it and you look at it and you say, I think that might be a little thick for me or whatever, wait until you add the oil and the egg to determine whether you want to put any more milk in it or anything like that. So we're going to put 1 egg. And I like to especially because I have chickens. And if have you ever raised chickens or not?
No, but I've eaten plenty of them.
Oh, all righty. Well, if you have a rooster with your chicken, you may have baby chickens.
I got
So
you.
when you go out to get your eggs, you always want to make sure and check your eggs.
Yep.
You know, and whether you candle them or however you do it. So I always break my eggs into something else
Yep.
before I put it into there, just to make sure we don't have any problems. And then oil. And like I was talking about, I said you can use oil or anything else in here to bind it together. But there's also a secret ingredient. And I use it a lot. I'll use it in all different recipes. Baby food.
Really?
Yeah. It's really neat because you can get vegetables. You can work all different types of things into foods that, especially if you've got a child that says, I'm not eating that vegetable. I don't want it. Well, if you mix it in with something, they didn't even know they had it, and it's pureed. And so I thought, if it calls for a tablespoon of oil, well, you can substitute the oil with something like baby food or applesauce or anything like that. And if it's a tablespoon, you're going to do a tablespoon per tablespoon. Okay? Well, I'm just putting about a tablespoon of pureed pumpkin. And again, it's baby food. So there you go. You got that in there. If you're going to have pumpkin, then I want to do cinnamon. So we're going to have cinnamon pumpkin pancakes.
That's a nice fall thing.
It is. It's a nice fall thing. That's probably, about a tablespoon? I'm all about just taste. That's in my kitchen. I very seldom measure things, so it makes it a little difficult for me when I get on a cooking show to explain to somebody, well, you put a dash and a pinch and a whatever in there. But in the long run, you'll learn, and especially when you're cooking for pets, they don't care. If you make a little bitty boo-boo and it's maybe, you taste it and you think, gosh, I would rather next time have a pancake with a little more cinnamon in it or a little less cinnamon in it or something like that, they're not going to complain. I guarantee you they're going to eat it.
I know mine wouldn't. My pets wouldn't complain.
Oh, no.
At all.
No, they're right underneath your feet, aren't they?
Yes.
All right, that's looking good. What we're going to do is we're going to take a break, hear from one of our sponsors, and when we come back, we're going to cook this for you and let you see just how good it is.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kayla Mitchell at Paris Veterinary Clinic. Did you know that grain-free diets can actually be harmful for your pet? With the recent fad in grain-free diets in human medicine, a lot of people are putting their pets on grain-free diets, and unfortunately we've had a large increase in dogs and cats with heart disease that's related to grain-free diets. So if your pet is on a grain-free diet right now, I encourage you to go speak to your veterinarian and make sure that that diet is okay for your pet. And if you want to do some research in the meantime, you should visit the statement from the FDA that talks about dilated cardiomyopathy from grain-free diets. And if you have concerns, please talk to your vet.
Hi everybody, we're back with Best Friends Kitchen, and my guest today is Buddy Jewell. All right, you ready to start cooking this stuff?
Yeah.
All right, and we have sausage and pancakes. So let's do the puppy portion, as you call it.
All right.
Let's do that first.
All right.
Hopefully our griddle is nice and hot.
We're about to find out.
We're about to find out.
It sounds like it's working to me.
Absolutely. Here's this right here.
All right, you want to cook both of them at the same
Go ahead
time?
and cook both of them. Yep.
It gives me something to do in between.
That's right. Then you can start making, if you want, while those are trying to cook, you can make a few little patties of the human portion with the sage and everything in there. And then once we do that, then we'll stick a little bit of the pancakes. We'll see how good he is, see if he can do them both at the same time. Now, while you're doing that, I was going to explain a little bit more about the fat content of this sausage, the carbohydrates in this. That's things that everyone nowadays are concerned about, not only for our own health, but for the health of our dogs as well.
Right.
And so the first thing, I had someone ask me not too long ago about raw. And so this is a good time maybe to just kind of throw that out there. There's nothing wrong with raw feeding. Actually, the name of that is called barf.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what it is. It's called bark when you feed them. Yeah, I know. When you feed them raw food. I don't feed raw because I don't have a source of getting my meat that I feel really confident in. You know, I'm having to go to the grocery store. I don't
Gotcha.
have somebody that I can say, hey, I need to have some ground chicken or anything that I feel comfortable with. Because, you know, just like us, your dog can get salmonella, trichinosis, they can get worms. So you have to be very careful in whatever you feed them, and especially if it's raw. So I just prefer cooking it, and that's even with an egg. I will cook it. Even if I don't hard cook it, I will cook it to some degree to get the heat up and kill any bacteria or anything that's in there. So that's my take on raw.
Gotcha.
And for this right here, the carbohydrates, the best way that I can explain that, and I have to refer to my notes because there's a lot of different things going on in this recipe, and when you actually log on to my website, which is, I'll just drop that right now, it's www.bestfriendskitchen.org. I'll have these recipes on there, and you'll get to see all of the content, their carbohydrates, their calorie content, and all that kind of stuff. But if you're talking about carbohydrates per serving, on here it says that per serving, or per batch, excuse me, is 24.6 grams of carbohydrates. Now, I don't know if you're not diabetic, maybe you don't count carbs, you don't understand that. That's a medium amount. I don't know. You count carbs, you know anything about that?
You know, I try to work out a little bit as much as I can, and I do kind of keep an eye on my carbs. I really don't count a bunch of them. I kind of do a balance between carbs and calories.
Right.
And but yeah, I'm kind of a more of a, you know, a higher protein guy. Yeah.
Right, and that's on everybody's mind anyway. You know, we're thinking that. That's why I put oats in this, because as you know, if you're counting your carbohydrates, anything high in fiber will come in and offset that, because a carbohydrate is basically sugar. So I was trying to equate that to what do you feed your dog on a normal basis.
Gotcha.
Let's take a medium-sized milk bone. A medium-sized milk bone has 10 carbohydrates and 30 calories to it. So if you're thinking about that, a medium milk bone this big has a third of the carbohydrates that this full mixture does. So if you think, oh, I'm feeding my dog a pancake, that's got to be a lot of carbohydrates. Not in proportion to what they're going to, you'd have to feed them this whole batch before you were really giving them a lot of carbohydrates.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, it really is. All right, you want to try it to see how good? Put one of our human ones on there.
All right.
Because we're going to want to. And that's funny too. You have to, when you cook for your pets, you have to get used to calling it different things. We used to just say real food. Well, or human food. It's just food. Food for your pets. We say, if you won't eat it, don't feed it to them. All right, you want to try this?
Sure.
Let's see if you can juggle.
Now, I've cooked plenty of sausage in my time behind in front of a stove or whatever. In fact, I do most of the cooking in my house.
Ah, there you go.
But I've never cooked pancakes.
Really?
So, little interesting tidbit about me.
There you go. So
Yes.
we're going to have to watch it close. All right, well, pull your sausage all down to one end.
All right.
There you go.
All right.
Here again, this is my mom's trick.
Mm-hmm.
She never used anything except her measuring cups when she would go to put the batter out for the pancakes. So she knew kind of about a half a cup, that's what that is, makes a nice sized pancake.
All right.
I'm going to put it over here for you.
Absolutely.
And let's just say we need 2, because we're going to want to taste, and then our little puppy friends are going to want to taste. So we're going to do 2. And again, we're going to go back and talk about, this is going to have to cook, since Buddy has never cooked a pancake, we're going to explain that. When you're watching your pancakes, the best way to know when it's time to flip them over is they're going to start to bubble in the middle. You're going to get a bunch of bubbles. It's going to look really bubbly and light and everything on there. And then you're going to start to see a little bit of brown around the edge.
Okay.
Then that's when you know time to flip them over. So you've got your meat cooking. What would you like to know? Let's say, since you've never cooked this, what would you think if you were looking at that? What would you like to know about
Well,
feeding it?
I had never, since they never cooked pancakes, it's interesting to that you look for the bubbles and the little brown around the edge. I guess if I had a question, it would be this. Now, do you taste the pet stuff yourself before you give it to them?
I actually taste it because I'd like to know next time how much of this ingredient that I had for me, you know, does it taste okay over here? Can I put it over there? So I have, and I have a funny story that I'll tell while this is cooking. I used to do a lot of events and travel around with the cooking for pets and everything, and we did here in Tennessee, Wilson County Fair.
Played it last year.
All right, there you go. So I was out at the Wilson County Fair doing some cooking demonstrations, and you know, they pride themselves, all fairs love to pride themselves on the different things that they'll have, like fried butter and all of that. Well, it was fun. My big slogan was, you can eat fried butter, you can eat fried pickles. Now you can say you actually ate dog food at the Wilson County Fair.
Oh my God.
And I had people lining up to come get, you know, oh yeah, I want to try dog food. And they ate it and they're like, I thought you said I was eating dog food. And it just tastes like people food. So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
See, I thought you might want to taste in case theirs tasted better than yours.
Well,
So you might cook that for you next time.
yeah, and you know, I do actually add sometimes. Okay, let's go back to our pancakes real quick.
Are we bubbling yet?
You're bubbling and see how you're getting all that around the edge.
If you say so, I'm colorblind.
Okay. Oh no. All righty. Well, try.
Try
just a
turning
little bit.
one?
Yeah, try
All right.
turning one.
Let's try that one. Look at that. Right on. Man.
Yeah. There you go.
Try not to mess them up too bad.
There you go.
Woo!
And he said he's never cooked a pancake before.
Well,
You got it.
that was
You got it.
before 15 minutes ago.
Before 15 minutes ago. That's exactly right. There you have it. All righty. Now,
It's smelling good too, by the way.
It's smelling good. We're going to let this continue to cook. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to sample it. And I bet you're going to wish that it was like smell-o-vision, because it's really good.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kayla Mitchell at Paris Veterinary Clinic. I just wanted to give you a couple quick tips on vaccines. I know that a lot of us are worried about vaccinating our pets and are worried about over-vaccinating. And so I just want you to remember that it's very important that we prevent diseases, and we can do that with vaccines. There are some vaccines that are considered core vaccines. So in a dog, distemper, parvo combos, and rabies vaccines are core vaccines. But there are some lifestyle vaccines that they may need, like leptospirosis if they're going to be outside around other animals, kennel cough if they get boarded and groomed, Lyme vaccine depending on the area. And in cats, we have a core vaccine that's called FVRCP, and then we also have our rabies vaccine, which again is core and required by law. But there is a vaccine that they can also get called feline leukemia, and if they're going to be outside, that's one of those lifestyle vaccines they should have. So what I would encourage you to do is take your pet to your veterinarian, talk about all the vaccines that they have and which are important for your pet to have.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Best Friends Kitchen. I'm here with Buddy Jewell, and we've just cooked up a wonderful breakfast for you and your pet, and now we're going to give it the old taste test. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, well before we dig in, let's talk a little bit about how I prepared the plate for your puppy pals.
All right.
Alrighty, this is about a portion that I would say you could give to a medium to large size dog. It's 1 2.5 ounce patty of the sausage and 1 medium pancake. And of course your dogs can have all types of fruit, any kind that they would like, they can basically have. Sometimes there's an issue. Some people say they can't have grapes. We'll discuss that later on, but I had a poodle that I trained with grapes and it lived to be 19 years old. So that's kind of an if, but if you are always in question about anything, just don't feed it to your pet. Blueberries are absolutely wonderful, antioxidants just like for us. And then instead of syrup, if you say, well, they need something sweet. I know my dog has a sweet tooth and I want to give them something sweet.
All right.
They can have a little bit of honey.
Great.
They can have some powdered sugar, just a little bit, or I chose this, and this is kind of something I really like. It's agave honey. They can have regular honey as well, but agave, of course, is from a plant. So the sugar in that is fructose, not sucralose or, you know, anything like that, and it has a lower glycemic index. So if you're diabetic and you're watching that for your dog, as they talk about breakfast being good for us and being good for your dog, sets up your day. You know, you don't want to, they used to tell you, oh, don't feed your children this high cereal with a lot of sugar and everything, because you hype them up for the day and then and then they crash.
Right.
Well, it's kind of the same way with your pet. If you give them a lot of something sweet or high in carbohydrates, they're going to have a lot of energy during the day, and then like about 6 hours later, they're going to crash. So you want to have something, if you think they need it sweet, pick something that metabolizes a lot slower in their system, and same thing for us. It's going to metabolize, it's going to make that breakfast go a whole lot longer. So that would be the portion for the pets, and here we are for us. Now I've added the same thing. It's sausage, except we had the ingredients. Same pancake. I put just a little butter on it for us, because as you and I talked, for us, you can't have too much butter. So we've got that. We have a little bit of blueberries, and we have our sausage. So do you want to be the first one to dig in, or are you going to have me?
Shoot, I'll try it first.
All right, you go right ahead.
All right, I got to find out how, you know, the sausage, because I've never like made sausage from the ground up like that.
Oh, I know. I can't wait.
Let's see. All right.
All right, you ready?
Get
Drum
ready.
roll.
Get ready to cut this. It's pretty good. You know what? And I'm talking my mouth full, so for you. It's not as spicy as I thought it was going to be. But it's good.
Yeah, and there again, you can adapt that to whatever you like. If you want it really spicy, put more spice in there. If you say, you know what, I think you didn't know whether you like sage or not.
Right.
Well, now you know. That's what sage is going to taste like. So if you say, well, I don't like as much of that, or I need a little bit more of that.
I think there's plenty of sage.
Okay. All right. Now I've got.
And I just now got a little dose of the hot too. So.
You found it? All
Yeah,
right.
I found it in there. Apparently I didn't mix that patty up very well.
All right. I got to try. And it's different. You can taste the difference in the fact that there's not a lot of fat in there.
Exactly.
When you eat sausage, you know how usually you're draining the fat, or you put it on your plate and everything gets really greasy. That's not the case here. So if you're watching your fat intake, that's the best way to make sausage for yourself.
That's great.
All right, let's try pancake.
Let's try pancake. Now I want to try it. Can I try this agave on mine?
Yeah, put agave honey on
Let's
it.
try it. I love honey. So.
And again, your dog doesn't have to have anything sweet. We talked about that, how their palate is not so refined. But there's always something in us, because we treat them as our family, that we want them to enjoy it just the way that we enjoy it. You know, I'll be like your
Thanks, Mom.
Hold your plate. And remember, I put pumpkin in there, put pumpkin baby food, and we have cinnamon, so it's kind of like a cinnamon pumpkin pancake.
That's really good too. It really
It's
is.
not bad for dog food, is it?
Not at all.
It's not
Hey,
too bad at all.
you talk about living a dog's life. I'd be happy to if I got fed that stuff every day.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. Well, that's what Best Friends Kitchen is really all about. It's just trying to give us as pet owners alternative ways to feed our pets, things that will bring the whole family, and they're part of the family, into the kitchen. We always want to give them something, but we don't know what is good and what isn't good. So that's kind of our purpose here at Best Friends Kitchen, is to show you what you can do. And if you would like, as you know, Buddy, I think we've talked, I am the founder and director of Music City Animal Rescue here in Nashville, Tennessee. And Best Friends Kitchen helps support our rescue and helps us continue to do what we want to do, and that's rescue all those fur babies that need forever homes. So if you'd like to help us and continue to support the Music City Animal Rescue, you can by joining Best Friends Kitchen on Patreon, Best Friends Kitchen. Because Buddy and I are going to sit here, we're going to keep eating our breakfast, and we're going to kick back and talk a while. Just have a nice chat about what you've been doing in your career and some fun things and some things that Buddy's fans may not know. So that's something you're going to want to know as well. So again, join us on Patreon and become a supporting member, and you can see all of our videos, all of our chats, some outtakes when we do boo-boos and things like that. So I think you're really going to enjoy it. And Buddy, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it, and eating the food, and we'll do it again sometime.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us at Best Friends